My child, stop for a moment. Yes, you. Pause whatever you are doing right now and listen to my voice. I am speaking to you with urgency, not to frighten you, but because this moment matters more than you realize. This is not noise. This is not imagination. This is not just another message passing by your eyes. My child, I am calling you, and I need your full attention. Do not rush past this. Do not treat this lightly. I am asking you to be still because heaven has leaned in toward you right now. My child, this is not the first time I have called you. You know this in your spirit. You have felt my tug before. You sensed my whisper in quiet moments, in restlessness you could not explain, in sudden thoughts that came when you were not looking for them. I spoke before, gently, patiently, with love, and you heard me, but you hesitated. You delayed. You told yourself you would respond later, when things felt clearer, when life slowed down, when you felt more ready. I did not turn away from you then. I did not withdraw my love. I waited because I am patient and kind. But hear me now, my child. I am calling you again, and this time carries weight. I am calling you again because what is coming cannot wait. I am calling you again because the season has shifted. I am calling you again because the door I have opened will not remain open forever. My child, I speak this not to pressure you, but to prepare you. There are moments written into time that cannot be postponed without cost. There are divine opportunities that require response, not delay. This is one of them. Do not tell yourself this message is random. Do not say it is for someone else. Do not brush it aside as coincidence. My child, I do not waste words, and I do not interrupt lives without purpose. I placed this moment before you intentionally. Out of all the voices you could have heard, out of all the paths your attention could have taken, you are here now because I led you here. This is not entertainment. This is a divine interruption. I have stepped into your routine because your life is about to change. Today is not an ordinary day. Today is not like yesterday. Today is a turning point written before you were born. Long before you face the struggles you carry now, long before the questions that keep you awake at night, I saw this moment. I marked it. I knew the exact second you would hear my voice again, and I prepared my words for you with care and authority. I am speaking now because something powerful is already moving today, not someday, not in a distant future you keep postponing hope toward, but now. My child, I waited patiently the first time. I allowed you space to wrestle, to grow, to learn. I did not force you. I did not shame you. I covered you with grace even as you delayed. But understand this, patience does not mean absence, and grace does not erase consequence. There are things I desire to release into your life that require your agreement. There are doors that open only when you step forward. I am speaking again now because the time for preparation is meeting the time for action. Do not scroll away. Do not harden your heart again. Do not let distractions steal what I am placing before you. I know how easy it is to tell yourself you will come back later. I know how familiar avoidance feels when something feels heavy or serious. But my child, if you ignore this voice again, the delay will cost you peace you were never meant to lose. The door will not remain open forever, and I do not want you to grieve what could have been. Hear my heart in this. I am not angry with you. I am not disappointed in you. I love you with a depth that cannot be measured, and that love is exactly why I speak with urgency now. A loving father does not stay silent when he sees his child standing at the edge of a moment that will shape their future. I would rather interrupt you than watch you miss what I prepared for you with joy. My child, something powerful is already in motion. You may not see it yet with your natural eyes, but heaven is moving. Alignments are shifting. Resistance you have felt for so long is weakening. Answers you thought were delayed are beginning to stir. This is why your spirit has felt restless. This is why you have felt pulled without understanding why. This is why familiar things no longer satisfy you. You are being positioned, and positioning always comes before manifestation. I need you to understand the seriousness without fear. Heaven is watching your response, not to judge you, but to partner with you. Angels stand ready to move with your obedience. Grace is present to strengthen you, but I will not override your will. Love does not force. Love invites. And right now, my invitation carries urgency because timing matters. You may feel unworthy. You may feel unsure. You may feel unprepared. But my child, readiness does not come before obedience. Readiness is formed through obedience. I am not calling you because you are perfect. I am calling you because I chose you. I am not speaking now because you have everything figured out. I am speaking because I have gone before you and prepared the way. This is the second call, and second calls carry mercy and warning together. Mercy, because I love you enough to call again. Warning, because repeated delay hardens what was once tender. I do not want your heart to grow dull. I do not want your faith to weaken. I do not want you to look back later and realize you heard me clearly and still chose to turn away. Type Amen. Jesus is the answer to all my needs if He holds every solution in your life. My child, lift your heart toward me now. Let go of the noise for these moments. Let my word settle deep within you. I am speaking now because your life is about to change. Not because of effort, not because of striving, but because of alignment. Say yes in your spirit. Stay with me. Listen closely. What comes next will unfold only for those who do not turn away when I call. My child, let me take you back for a moment, not to reopen wounds, not to shame you, but to help you understand with clarity and compassion what has already passed. I want you to see it through my eyes, not through regret or self-blame. The first time I called you, I did not come with urgency. I came softly. I came patiently. I came like a whisper carried on still air, gentle enough that you could choose to lean in or turn away. And you did hear me. Even now, deep within you, something remembers. I spoke to you through signs that seemed small at the time. A sudden thought that would not leave you. A restlessness that rose when everything looked fine on the outside. A moment when your heart felt stirred without reason. I nudged you when you were quiet. I whispered when you were tired. I placed discomfort in places that once felt familiar so you would begin to question whether you were meant to stay there. I did not shout then. I did not rush you. I trusted that love would draw you closer. You felt it in moments of delay, when progress slowed without explanation. You felt it in unrest, when sleep came but peace did not. You felt it when the same patterns repeated and something inside you said, "There must be more than this." That was me. I was calling you gently, inviting you to lift your eyes higher, to step beyond what you knew, to trust me with the next step even before you could see where it would lead. And yet, my child, You hesitated. Not because you did not love me, not because you were rebellious, but because fear spoke loudly. You hesitated because change felt costly. You hesitated because obedience required letting go of what felt safe. You hesitated because you were tired, because you had already endured much, because you told yourself it was not the right time. I saw all of that. I understood all of that. I did not accuse you. I did not turn away. You ignored the first call not out of defiance, but out of uncertainty. You questioned whether it was truly my voice. You wondered if you were imagining things. You told yourself you needed more confirmation, more clarity, more strength. You delayed because you wanted to be sure, and because part of you feared what obedience might ask of you. My child, I know how heavy decisions feel when your heart is already weary. Hear me clearly now. I do not condemn you for that delay. I never stood above you with judgment. I walked beside you with understanding. I saw the battles you were fighting that no one else knew about. I saw how stretched thin you were. I saw how much you were already carrying. And in that season, my compassion covered you. My mercy surrounded you. My grace did not leave you, even when you did not move. But there are things I want you to understand. When you delayed, certain things could not move forward. Not because I withdrew them, but because timing matters in the spiritual realm. There were doors prepared that required your step. There were connections that depended on your obedience. There were lessons meant to grow you sooner that were postponed. This was not punishment. It was consequence, gentle but real. Some growth was slowed. Some peace was delayed. Some clarity you longed for could not fully settle because alignment was incomplete. I remained with you, but certain blessings waited at the edge of obedience. This is a truth spoken in love, not to burden you, but to awaken your understanding. I want you to see how powerful your response truly is. Even in delay, I never stopped loving you. Not for a single breath. My affection did not cool. My presence did not withdraw. I did not replace you. I did not move on. I stayed. I watched. I guarded you from paths that would have harmed you. I softened the consequences where I could. I extended mercy over mercy. I wrapped grace around the spaces where fear had made you pause. My child, grace covered your delay so that delay would not destroy you. Grace protected you from choices you might have made out of panic. Grace kept you from drifting too far. Grace preserved your heart even when confusion tried to harden it. But grace is not meant to be a place where you remain forever. Grace is a covering while you grow, not a hiding place where you settle. Please support our channel. We work with love and dedication to bring joy to your life and strengthen your devotion to God. If you feel inspired, you can show your support through Super Thanks. Even a small contribution encourages us greatly. I waited because I am patient. I waited because I am faithful. I waited because I knew there would come a moment when your heart would be ready to hear me more clearly. I did not waste the waiting. I use it. I strengthened you quietly. I taught you through experience. I allowed you to feel the weight of staying still so you would recognize the freedom of moving forward when the time came. But my child, I must speak truth with love now. Repeated delay has consequences. A heart that continually postpones obedience begins to dull. A spirit that keeps saying later starts to confuse caution with wisdom. I do not say this to scare you, but to protect you. There are moments when waiting is wise, and moments when waiting becomes disobedience. Discernment is knowing the difference. The first call was gentle because the season allowed gentleness. The second call carries urgency because the season has changed. I do not want delay to become a habit. I do not want fear to masquerade as patience. I do not want you to look back and realize that what you thought was safety was actually stagnation. Understand this. I never stopped loving you, and I never will. But love also speaks truth. Love does not allow harm to grow quietly. Love warns before loss becomes permanent. Love calls again, not because you failed, but because I believe in what I placed inside you. My child, the first call taught you something important. It revealed where fear still had influence. It showed you what you cling to when uncertainty rises. It exposed the places where trust needed to deepen. These revelations were not wasted. They prepared you for what comes now. Do not drown in regret over what did not move forward then. I am the God who redeems time. What was delayed can still be restored when obedience meets the moment. But hear me carefully. The window will not always reopen the same way. This is why I speak now with clarity and urgency. This is why I remind you of the first call, not to shame you, but to sharpen your awareness. I am not asking you to live in the past. I am asking you to learn from it. The first call showed you that my voice was real. The second call will ask you to respond. Stay with me. Listen. Let understanding settle in your spirit. What comes next will require the courage you are now ready to walk in. My child, I am calling you again now because time has shifted in ways you cannot fully see with human eyes. What once moved slowly has begun to move swiftly. What once waited patiently has now stepped forward. The atmosphere around your life is not the same as it was before, and that is why my voice sounds different to you now. The second call carries urgency not because I am impatient, but because the season itself has changed. Heaven has moved, and when heaven moves, the earth must respond. The first time I called you, there was room to pause, room to process, room to grow quietly. But now, my child, the moment you are standing in does not allow the same delay. Certain doors I have opened before you cannot stay open forever. Not because I am cruel, but because purpose unfolds in appointed times. Opportunities prepared by my hand are connected to seasons, and seasons do not stand still waiting for hesitation to resolve itself. I am calling you again because what is open now will not always remain so. Understand this with peace in your heart. You are not late. You have not missed everything, but you are standing at the edge of what must be entered with decision. I am not calling you again to repeat the first invitation. I am calling you again because preparation has already happened. Much of what you thought you were waiting for has already been formed within you. The strength you prayed for has been growing quietly. The wisdom you asked me for has been shaped through experience. The resilience you did not know you were gaining has been built through the very delays you struggled to understand. My child, you are more ready than you think. Readiness does not always feel like confidence. Often, it feels like discomfort with staying the same. That restlessness you feel now is not confusion. It is confirmation. You are sensing that remaining where you are will begin to cost you more than moving forward. That is because I have already done much of the work inside you. This call is urgent because the internal preparation is meeting the external opportunity. I need you to know something important. The enemy is also aware of this moment. He does not know everything I know, but he recognizes patterns. He sees when alignment is near. He senses when a child of mine is about to step into greater freedom, greater clarity, greater authority. That is why distractions have increased. That is why doubt has grown louder. That is why fear has tried to dress itself as wisdom in your thoughts. None of this is accidental. But do not be afraid. I am not telling you this to make you anxious, but to make you alert. Delay now would cause unnecessary pain, not because I would abandon you, but because resistance increases when obedience is postponed in moments like this. The longer you hesitate in a moment meant for movement, the heavier the internal conflict becomes. I do not want you to suffer that weight. I am calling you again now because I desire your peace, not your struggle. Hear me clearly, my child. This call is different from the first. The first call invited you to listen. This call invites you to move. The first call asked you to become aware. This call asks you to respond. The first call revealed my voice. This call requires your trust. The difference is not in my love, but in the timing. Love remains constant. Seasons do not. I have already gone ahead of you. I have arranged what you cannot yet see. I have softened hearts you have not yet encountered. I have shifted circumstances quietly. I have placed protection around what you will step into. You are not walking into chaos. You are walking into alignment. But alignment only happens when you step where I am leading. My child, I know the weight of decision feels heavy. I know part of you still longs for complete certainty before you act. But complete certainty does not exist in faith. Trust does. Faith is not knowing every step. Faith is knowing who walks with you. I am not asking you to leap blindly. I am asking you to trust me fully. I am calling you again now because trust must replace hesitation at this point. You may feel the emotional weight increasing, and that is not a sign to turn away. It is a sign that this matters. Important moments carry weight, holy to see and stir the soul deeply. If this were insignificant, your spirit would not feel this pull. Do not confuse heaviness with danger. Sometimes heaviness is simply the awareness that something eternal is touching something temporary. I waited before because waiting served you then. Now I speak urgently because waiting will harm you now. This is not pressure, it is protection. I do not want you to miss what I have prepared simply because fear feels familiar. Familiar pain can be more comfortable than unfamiliar obedience, but it is not where life grows. Listen to me, my child. You are ready now. Not because you feel fearless, but because you are willing. Not because you have every answer, but because you have learned to listen. Not because you are strong on your own, but because you have learned that I am your strength. The version of you that heard the first call was still learning to trust my voice. The version of you hearing this call has walked through enough to recognize it. I am calling you again now because heaven is aligned for your yes. Because grace is active. Because provision is prepared. Because clarity will follow obedience, not precede it. I am calling you again now because I love you too much to remain silent while opportunity stands before you. Do not shrink back. Do not tell yourself you need more time. Do not believe the lie that you are unprepared. If you were unprepared, I would still be shaping you quietly. The fact that I am speaking with urgency tells you something important. The moment is now. Stay with me. Keep listening. Let my words settle deeper. What I will reveal next will make sense only to those who understand why the second call matters. You are not being rushed into harm. You are being invited into life. Right, amen. My hope is anchored in Christ alone if your faith rests securely in Him. My child, there are battles you survived that you never saw, wars that raged around you while you thought you were simply tired, confused, or unlucky. I want to open your eyes gently now, not to frighten you, but to heal you with truth. You have often wondered why certain moments in your life felt heavier than they should have, why pressure came without warning, why danger seemed to pass so close to you without fully touching you. Those were not random moments. Those were battlefields, and you were never alone on them. There were forces moving against you that you did not recognize. There were paths you almost took that would have broken you in ways you were not prepared to endure. There were decisions you nearly made that would have entangled you with pain that lasted far longer than the season you were in. And in those moments, my child, I stepped in. I fought for you when you were too tired to fight. I shielded you when you did not even know you needed protection. I intervened quietly, decisively, without applause, without explanation, because my role has always been to guard what belongs to me. You thought some things fell apart because you failed. You believed certain relationships ended because you were not enough. You assumed closed doors meant rejection. But many of those moments were rescues, not losses. I dismantled situations that would have slowly destroyed your peace. I removed people whose presence would have drained your spirit and distorted your identity. I blocked opportunities that looked promising on the surface but carried harm underneath. I did this not to disappoint you, but to preserve you. There were wrong decisions you were moments away from making. Words you almost spoke that would have changed the course of your life. Commitments you nearly entered that would have cost you more than you could afford. I whispered caution when you felt rushed. I stirred unease when everything looked perfect. I placed delays where you wanted speed. I caused confusion where clarity would have led you into danger. At the time, you questioned me. Now I ask you to see me. My child, there were wrong people who came close to you, people whose intentions were not aligned with my purpose for your life. Some meant harm knowingly, others unknowingly. Some would have pulled you away from who you were becoming. Some would have used your kindness against you. Some would have benefited from your light while slowly dimming it. I stood between you and them. I exposed what needed exposing. I allowed tension, misunderstanding, and separation to arise so that you would not remain bound to what would wound you later. You must understand how close danger came at times. There were moments when one step in the wrong direction would have led to deep regret. There were seasons when the weight you felt was not weakness, but pressure from forces that wanted to stop your growth. There were nights when despair pressed in harder than usual, not because you were losing faith, but because something in the unseen realm was resisting your progress. And through all of it, I never stepped away. I assigned protection around you when you felt most vulnerable. I sent help when you did not know how to ask. I strengthened you when your own strength ran out. I redirected you when you insisted on paths that felt right but were not safe. I carried you through moments you now look back on and wonder how you survived. The answer is simple, my child. You survived because I was there. Let gratitude rise gently in your heart now, not forced, not loud, but deep and steady. Gratitude not only for what you received, but for what never happened, for accidents that did not occur, for betrayals that were cut short, for mistakes that were interrupted, for harm that was diverted. Much of my faithfulness is hidden in the absence of disaster. Much of my love is seen in what you were spared from, not only in what you gained. stand in awe for a moment and realize this truth. You are still here because I fought for you. You are still standing because I refused to let the enemy claim ground that did not belong to him. You are still breathing with hope because I guarded your future when you could not see it clearly. This was not luck. This was not coincidence. This was my hand. I want you to know me not only as comforter, but as protector. Not only as healer, but as defender. I am the one who stands watch while you sleep. I am the one who moves before you take a step. I am the one who sees traps long before you notice danger. I do not grow weary. I do not become distracted. I do not abandon what I have claimed as my own. There were times when you felt frustrated because progress slowed or plans collapsed. You questioned my silence. You wondered why things were harder than they needed to be. But now I tell you with clarity and love, some battles are won by prevention, not by recovery. I stopped things early so you would not need deeper healing later. I broke connections so you would not need to recover from deeper wounds. I closed doors so you would not need to escape burning rooms. Let trust begin to rebuild itself in you now. Not blind trust, but informed trust. Trust rooted in the knowledge that I see what you cannot. Trust that understands my delays were protection, not neglect. Trust that knows my interruptions were mercy, not cruelty. I want you to stop interpreting past pain as evidence of my absence. It was often evidence of my involvement. You are safer than you realize because you are not walking alone. You never have. Even when you questioned me. Even when you doubted. Even when you grew tired of waiting. I remained faithful. I remained alert. I remained present. And I will continue to do so. As you move forward now, carry this truth with you. The same one who protected you then will protect you now. The same hand that blocked danger before will guide you ahead. You are not stepping into uncertainty alone. You are stepping forward with a defender who has already proven his faithfulness in battles you never saw. My child, come closer now. Let me speak to you gently, not with command, not with urgency, but with tenderness. I know your pain. I know it more deeply than you know it yourself. There are wounds you never spoke about, tears you wiped away before anyone could see, prayers that never formed words because your heart was too heavy to speak. You carried them quietly, believing no one noticed, believing you had to be strong alone. But my child, you were never unseen. I saw the tears you cried in secret. The ones that fell late at night when the world was silent and your thoughts were loud. The tears that came without warning when something small reopened something old. The tears you held back in front of others, then released only when you were finally alone. You wondered if those tears mattered, if they were too small or too frequent or too weak to be noticed. But I tell you the truth now. Not one tear fell without me seeing it. Not one tear touched your face without being counted. I did not miss a single one. There were prayers you prayed without words. Moments when you sat in silence, heart aching, mind overwhelmed, unsure what to ask for anymore. You did not have strength to speak faith. You did not have energy to explain your pain. You simply breathed, and even that felt heavy. My child, I heard those prayers. I understand the language of the heart. I understand sighs, groans, and silent cries. You did not need to explain yourself to me. I already knew. Loneliness wrapped itself around you in ways others could not see. You were surrounded by people at times, yet still felt alone. You felt unseen, misunderstood, overlooked. You wondered why connection felt so distant, why comfort seemed to come easily to others, but not to you. You asked yourself what was wrong with you, why you felt different, why your heart felt heavier than it should. I was there in that loneliness. I was closer than you realized, even when you felt abandoned. Exhaustion became familiar to you. Not just physical tiredness, but soul-deep weariness. The kind that sleep does not fix. The kind that comes from carrying hope for too long without seeing change. The kind that settles in when you keep showing up, keep believing, keep enduring, while answers remain silent. You questioned your strength. You wondered how much longer you could keep going. And even then, my child, I did not turn away. Hear this clearly now, and let it settle deep inside you. Your pain was not punishment. I was not correcting you through suffering. I was not testing you to see how much you could endure. I am not cruel, and I do not delight in your tears. What you walked through was not a sign of my anger or disappointment. It was part of a process you could not see clearly at the time. Pain is a way of making you believe you are being judged or abandoned. But often, pain is the soil where strength grows quietly. The suffering you endured refined you. It's often places that could have hardened and deepened your compassion. It taught you how to listen, how to feel, how to depend on me when your own strength failed. You did not break under the weight. You bent, you endured, you survived. And that matters more than you know. I saw how you kept going even when joy felt distant. I saw how you loved others while feeling empty yourself. I saw how you stayed kind when bitterness would have been easier. Those choices were not small. They shaped you. They strengthened your spirit. They aligned you with my heart in ways comfort never could. You were being formed, even while you felt forgotten. There were moments when you asked me why. Why the delay? Why the silence? Why the loss? Why the struggle that seemed unnecessary? I did not always answer immediately, not because I ignored you, but because answers given too early can wound instead of heal. Some understanding only comes when the heart is ready to receive it. And now, you are ready to hear this. I was with you the entire time. I did not watch your pain from a distance. I felt it with you. When your heart ached, my heart ached. When you felt overwhelmed, I held you closer. I am not a distant observer. I am not untouched by your suffering. I entered into it with you, even when you could not feel my presence. Love does not always remove pain immediately. Sometimes love walks through pain together. You may look back and see scars. I see strength. You may remember moments you wish you could erase. I see evidence of resilience. You may think of yourself as damaged by what you endured. I see someone refined, someone deepened, someone prepared. What tried to crush you instead shaped you. What threatened to silence you taught you how to listen. What tried to harden you instead softened you. My child, you were never weak for feeling pain. You were never faithless for crying. You were never abandoned in your suffering. You were human and you were held. Even when you questioned me. Even when you doubted. Even when you felt too tired to hope. I did not withdraw my love from you in those moments. I drew near. Say amen. I believe he's working behind the scenes even when I cannot see the outcome. And share this video.